Let's bring in former CIA analyst Ray McGovern for his thoughts on where this is all heading. Joining us live now from Washington. Ray, how do you see Europe's relations with the US changing after all of this?
Well, this is a big deal. I checked the French and the German newspapers today. Le Monde has a stinging article, and the Süddeutsche Zeitung, which is by far the most respected daily in Germany and arguably in Europe, there were 12 articles. I printed them out, 12 of them on this issue today. One of the commentaries used a word that really is unlawful to use in Germany, verrückt. It means crazy, but it means much more crazy than our English word crazy. If you do this on an Autobahn, that means you're saying verrückt to someone else. That's a legal offense. You can be put in jail for that or fined. So this one commentary called our president verrückt, asked, has he really gone verrückt? Another one said, when General Alexander responds to these Enthüllungen, these disclosures, he looks ganz schön dumm. Dumm is dumb. Ganz schön, well, literally it's completely beautifully dumb, but really it means really darn dumb, And so they're using these images and this language, Dummheit, applied to the president, that they've never used before. And I lived in Germany for 5 years. This means something. Now, will it blow over? Not until there's been a whole lot of damage done to our transatlantic relationship.
And you're saying a whole lot of damage. You really believe there could be? There's a lot of rhetoric coming out of, well, there was out of Brussels today. That summit is now over. But will we really see action from Europe? And can it afford to derail relations with the US over this?
Yeah. It's a more attitudinal thing. What they see in our country is a technology, a national security apparatus without any adult supervision. What they see is the equivalent of a bunch of middle schoolers given new tools and run amok. The Congress, they know, are complicit. Even some judges from this FISA court are complicit. And so the question that they are probably asking themselves, how complicit is Barack Obama? Does he know about all this? And that is a very interesting question because, there is such a thing as plausible denial, where the intelligence services say, well, we'll do this and we won't tell the president, and it's better for him not to know, and then he can claim plausible denial. That may be what's going on here.
Okay, let me though
Obama
quickly ask you, though,
from any backbone, he'll do something about that.
Sure. What I want to ask you, there's a former CIA agent. The NSA, in some ways, seems to be playing it down, saying that all the intelligence that was gathered was really of little value. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't know what they would learn from Angela Merkel's cell phone what they wouldn't learn from other more traditional or other technical sources. So for them to admit that up front, that nothing of much value was gained, that's an indictment of how they allow this kind of thing to run amok without any adult consideration of the consequences. Do we do this to foreigners? Well, of course we do, but there's the old Meden agan, in medio res, the old Greek and Latin saying that you have to have some sensibility in the middle. Virtue is in the middle, and you don't go to excesses just because you can, just because the technology makes it possible for you to do that.
Why target the likes of Angela Merkel and so many world leaders when all of the surveillance is supposedly in the name of counterterrorism, of international and national security?
Yeah. Well, the simple answer is because they can. It's a lot easier to wrap up everything, curiously enough, than it is to target suspected people, to target, as our Fourth Amendment says, under probable cause. That has completely gone by the board. Abroad, you can maybe justify it in a sense within limits, but at home here, and that's what concerns me as a person sworn with a sacred oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. When I see our Fourth Amendment shredded to pieces, that to me is much more important than Angela Merkel's handy. The Germans call a cell phone their little handy.
And just how much of this was economic, industrial, financial espionage as well, to find out perhaps what big deals a country might be looking at? And the US obviously trying to undercut or trying to get in there. Is that an aspect, of course?
Well, you know, it used to be that there was a prohibition against that, honored pretty much, okay? Sometimes there were breaches of that. Now I can't escape the conclusion that that must be involved here too. And when you consider that we share almost all our intelligence with the British and with the Israelis, well, I would see that the Europeans would wonder about whether this gives the British and the Israelis and other Commonwealth allies of ours a leg up when they go into negotiations. I think the negotiations on the Free Trade Pact are really in for some trouble because they know the history of this now.
Former CIA analyst Ray McGovern, thank you very much indeed for joining us live here on RT. Great to talk to you.